What happens when fame, fortune, and the pursuit of perfection collide in the most devastating way possible? Some of Hollywood's biggest names have walked into operating rooms seeking enhancement and walked out unrecognizable. From a pop icon whose face became a cautionary tale, to a reality star whose procedures shocked even her own family. Today we're unveiling the 10 most shocking plastic surgery transformations that went horribly wrong. And trust me, number 1 will leave you speechless. This isn't gossip. This is documented history that the industry tried to forget. In an industry where image is everything, the pressure to maintain youth and beauty has driven countless celebrities toward cosmetic enhancement. But when surgical ambition exceeds reality, the results can be career-ending, heartbreaking, and sometimes irreversible. These aren't just bad procedures. These are transformations that sparked global conversations about body dysmorphia, surgical addiction, and the dark side of fame. Each story reveals something deeper about celebrity culture, and by the end, you'll understand why Hollywood's obsession with perfection can become its greatest curse. 10. Tara Reid. Let's begin with a name that defined early 2000s Hollywood. Tara Reid, star of American Pie and a tabloid fixture, underwent liposuction in 2004 that left her with visible deformities she later called the worst mistake of my life. Her abdomen showed irregular contours, and her breasts were noticeably uneven, flaws she openly discussed on camera. What makes Tara's story particularly tragic is her transparency. She admitted the procedures were driven by insecurity fueled by constant media scrutiny. She underwent corrective surgeries, but the damage to her confidence and career was already done. Tara's openness became a rallying cry for body positivity, but the cost was her A-list status. Transition. But if you think that's shocking, wait until you hear about the star whose obsession began in their teens. 9. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Known worldwide as Catwoman, Jocelyn Wildenstein's transformation is one of the most extreme in history. The New York socialite allegedly spent over $4 million trying to achieve a feline appearance, believing it would save her marriage to art dealer Alec Wildenstein. The irony? He left her anyway. Her eyes were pulled into dramatic angles, her cheeks raised to unnatural heights, and her lips inflated beyond recognition. Jocelyn has denied the extent of her surgeries, but photographic evidence spanning decades tells a different story. What began as subtle enhancements spiraled into an obsession that made her face a symbol of surgical excess. Her story isn't just about vanity. It's a psychological portrait of someone chasing love through scalpel and syringe, only to lose herself in the process. Transition. Yet even her transformation pales compared to what happened to this next music legend. 8. Mickey Rourke. Once hailed as one of Hollywood's most handsome leading men, Mickey Rourke's face became unrecognizable after years of boxing injuries and subsequent reconstructive surgeries. But here's the twist. The procedures meant to repair his face actually distorted it further. His cheekbones appeared swollen, his skin overly tight, and his features lost their natural symmetry. Mickey himself admitted in interviews that he chose the wrong surgeon, someone who wasn't a proper doctor. The tragedy here runs deeper than aesthetics. This was a man trying to reclaim what violence had taken from him, only to be betrayed by the very medical system meant to help. Mickey has since undergone additional corrective work, but the damage to his classic good looks remains a permanent reminder of trust misplaced. Transition. But facial reconstruction is one thing. What happens when someone becomes addicted to changing their entire identity? 7. Pete Burns. The late Pete Burns, frontman of Dead or Alive, and an icon of 1980s new wave, spent decades and hundreds of thousands of dollars on cosmetic procedures that left him in chronic pain and disfigurement. His lips were so severely altered by silicone injections that they became infected, requiring emergency surgery. Pete was open about his surgical addiction, calling it both a form of self-expression and a curse he couldn't escape. He described procedures going catastrophically wrong, leaving him with nerve damage and depression. What's haunting about Pete's story is his self-awareness. He knew the risks, acknowledged the addiction, but couldn't stop. His life became a battle between artistic identity and physical deterioration, ending with his death in 2016 from sudden cardiac arrest, his legacy forever intertwined with the dangers of cosmetic obsession, Transition. And speaking of obsession, the next entry involves a procedure so dangerous, it's now banned in several countries. 6. Donatella Versace. As the creative director of one of fashion's most prestigious houses, Donatella Versace has always been a symbol of style, but her face tells a different story. Years of rumored facelifts, lip fillers, and skin treatments have left her features noticeably altered. Her lips appear disproportionately large, her skin unnaturally taut, and her overall appearance starkly different from her younger years. Donatella has never publicly confirmed the full extent of her procedures, maintaining an air of mystery. But industry insiders suggest the pressure of leading Versace after her brother Gianni's murder drove her towards surgical excess. It's a cruel paradox. The woman who defines beauty for millions felt compelled to alter herself beyond recognition. Her transformation serves as a reminder that even those who set trends are not immune to insecurity. Transition. But what happens when plastic surgery isn't just personal, but broadcast to millions? 5. Heidi Montag. Reality television thrives on spectacle, but Heidi Montag took it to an extreme that shocked even her fans. In 2010, at just 23 years old, Heidi underwent 10 cosmetic procedures in a single day. Breast augmentation, rhinoplasty, chin reduction, liposuction, fat injections, and more. The reveal on the hills was met with gasps and genuine concern. Her husband Spencer Pratt later admitted he was scared seeing her post-surgery. Heidi herself expressed regret in subsequent interviews, saying she would never do it again and that she was too young. What's particularly disturbing is the timing. This wasn't gradual enhancement. This was surgical overload on a body barely out of adolescence. Heidi's story became a cautionary tale about fame, youth, and the dangerous allure of instant transformation, transition. Yet even that marathon surgery session doesn't compare to the identity crisis faced by our next entry. 4. Lil' Kim. The queen bee of hip-hop, Lil' Kim, has undergone such dramatic facial changes over the past 2 decades that fans often struggle to recognize her. Her skin tone has lightened significantly, her nose has been repeatedly refined to a point of fragility, and her facial structure appears entirely different from her 1990s peak. Many have speculated that colorism and industry pressure played roles in her transformation. Lil' Kim has addressed the criticism, defending her choices while also hinting at deeper insecurities. The sadness here is profound. This is an artist who revolutionized female rap, who celebrated black beauty and sexual empowerment, now barely resembling the woman who inspired a generation. Her transformation raises uncomfortable questions about self-image, cultural beauty standards, and what we sacrifice when we chase society's constantly shifting ideals. Transition. But all of these pale in comparison to the psychological and physical toll suffered by our next celebrity. 3. Amanda Lepore. Transgender icon and nightlife legend Amanda Lepore has been refreshingly honest about her extensive cosmetic work. From facial feminization to countless enhancements, Amanda has crafted an appearance she describes as living art. However, even she has acknowledged procedures that went wrong, including complications that required emergency intervention. What sets Amanda apart is her philosophical approach. She views her body as a canvas, accepting both the triumphs and disasters of surgical experimentation. Yet medical experts have expressed concern about the cumulative effects of her procedures. Amanda's story is complex. It's about identity, artistry, and bodily autonomy, but also about the physical risks of pushing human aesthetics to theatrical extremes. She remains unapologetic, a testament to personal choice, but also a reminder that every choice carries consequences. Transition. And now, we've reached the top 2. These final entries represent the most documented, most discussed, and most heartbreaking examples of plastic surgery gone wrong. 2. Janice Dickinson. The self-proclaimed first supermodel Janice Dickinson has been remarkably candid about her surgical addiction. She's admitted to multiple facelifts, nose jobs, breast augmentations, and fillers, many of which produced unsatisfactory results. Her face has changed so dramatically that comparing photos from her modeling peak to recent years reveals an almost unrecognizable transformation. But Janice's honesty is what makes her story compelling. She's discussed the emotional drivers behind each procedure, the industry ageism that fueled her insecurity, and the realization that surgery couldn't stop time. On Celebrity Rehab, she addressed these issues publicly, describing her surgical journey as an addiction comparable to substance abuse. Janice became a voice for a generation of women who felt erased by aging, and her willingness to expose her vulnerabilities has made her story both tragic and redemptive. Transition, which brings us to number 1. The most infamous, the most analyzed, and the most heartbreaking plastic surgery story in entertainment history. 1. Michael Jackson. There's simply no other story that captures the tragedy of plastic surgery obsession like Michael Jackson's. The king of pop underwent procedures that gradually transformed his face over 3 decades. His nose became progressively thinner and more sculpted until structural damage required a prosthetic tip. His skin tone lightened dramatically, which he attributed to vitiligo, though many speculated about bleaching procedures. His cheekbones became more prominent, his chin developed a cleft, and by his final years, his appearance bore little resemblance to the young man who moonwalked into history. What makes Michael's story transcend all others is the psychological complexity behind it. Childhood trauma, his father's alleged abuse regarding his appearance, the pressures of global superstardom from age 11, and possible body dysmorphic disorder all converged into a surgical spiral he couldn't escape. Dermatologist Arnold Klein and others in Michael's circle later revealed the extent of his procedures and the pain he endured, both physical and emotional. Michael's transformation wasn't vanity. It was a manifestation of deep psychological wounds that surgery could never heal. His legacy, as the greatest entertainer of all time, will forever be shadowed by his tragic relationship with his own reflection. And that's what makes this the number 1 entry. It's not just about bad surgery. It's about a human being who had everything except peace with himself. From surgical addiction to botched procedures, these 10 celebrities remind us that perfection is an illusion and that the pursuit of it can cost everything. Their stories are warnings about industry pressure, psychological trauma, and the limits of what surgery can achieve. But they're also stories of human beings trying to find acceptance in a world that judges appearances mercilessly. So here's my question for you. Do you think celebrities face unfair pressure to alter their appearance, or do they set unrealistic standards that affect us all? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this video opened your eyes to the darker side of Hollywood beauty standards, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into celebrity culture, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation. Thanks for watching. And remember, true beauty isn't found in a surgeon's office. It's found in accepting who you are.